Hello, and welcome to From Planning to Prosperity, the podcast where spotlight wealth management professionals who are shaping the future of financial advice and client service. I'm your host, Stephen Palmer, and today I'm excited to feature Jessica Nieminski from CPF Advisors. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
So, before we dive in, I'd love to start with a little background. Like, what first drew you into the wealth management space?
Well, actually, my dad worked in this space. He was a CPA and then became an advisor. And so, right out of college, that actually wasn't what I was studying. But I decided to get licensed and take my securities exams and join him. But it wasn't a straightforward path. I actually decided to stay home, raise my kids for a while, and ended up back into the space later, getting relicensed and all those good things.
Nice. I mean, that's okay. That's an American path for sure.
Yeah, you know what? Most people's path isn't straight. We just don't hear about that enough. I think you see where someone's at, but you don't really ever look at the in between and what it took to get there.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that was neat to learn about you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Let's set up the conversation here for our listeners. So, many may not know exactly like what the day-to-day is for an advisor like yourself. So, could you share a little bit about your role at CPF Advisors and how it connects to your overall vision for your clients?
Yeah, of course. So actually, and we've been for the past 2 years, CPF Advisors, powered by Fortis Capital. We became a part of Fortis Capital Advisors, which I could share shortly here, in another
Sure.
point. But day to day, I'm a private wealth advisor, but I'm also running the operations of the business, right? Systems, processes, benchmarks for growth, and of course, working with clients. I mean, that is truly the
Right.
bulk of what I do.
Right. Nice. So you got multiple hats.
A couple.
That's awesome. So walk us through a typical day in your practice. So like how do you balance client service with business growth in particular?
Well, I mean, I don't really believe in balance, to be honest with you, in general in life. I think
Hmm.
you're leaning into what needs you more in that moment. I have a philosophy for that that I kind of came up with myself. I believe if you're seeking balance anywhere, I think it's a great way to fail. So I think there's certain days that we have internal organization meetings where, like, I have a meeting on Friday about our 2026 planning goals. But then you can't be working in the business and working on the business simultaneously at all times. You have to be able to take small steps back to do both. But it's important to be in both roles so you can understand what actually works. And then, of course, track it.
Right. Awesome answer. Great picture. So thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that insight. So let's kind of pivot here to trends. So in wealth management, like things are evolving very quickly now because of a lot of different things in our world. Advisors are kind of right in the center of all these changes. You know, regulations maybe being let up a little bit. But what kind of shifts are you noticing right now? Like, is it client behavior, compliance issues, tech?
It's kind of all over the board. I think this industry, I came in my 20s, I'm now in my 40s. So, I have a few decades to compare at least. But I would say two
Hmm.
biggest things, there's change everywhere. Compliance
Yeah.
everywhere. It depends on if you're SEC or FINRA, et cetera. But the two biggest things I've noticed are mergers and acquisitions. There's a lot of advisors retiring in this space, a lot of movement, a lot of people moving who were staying put for years. And I think that's new. There was always that going on, but it's definitely hummed up. Increased technology, not only on the advisor side, because it used to be really limited. And that's where the compliance part comes in, right? It was like to get use of any tool, it felt like it had to go through, I don't know how many hoops, and then you were lucky if you could use it. There wasn't a lot out there available for advisors, but also there wasn't a lot available for clients. And I think that makes a huge difference. And honestly, it's had a tremendous impact on how we do business.
Yeah. So having dashboards and digital plans to share.
Yeah, and even AI making a little sneak peek entrance. I mean, we don't use it. We do everything right. Every team we have is a person. Our portfolio managers are people. They're sitting there. But there are certain tools where you can maybe, instead of entering every holding in a statement, maybe upload it and analyze it. Of course, though, if you've used AI, you know it's not perfect. So we don't fully rely on that. But sometimes there's some tools in there that can make things more efficient.
For sure, for sure. So, have the changes in the tools kind of influenced on how you operate your business and talk to your clients?
Well, definitely on the client side. I think, the clients aren't always aware of what's going on every day when you're at the office, right? I mean, they're hiring us to take care of things for them. So every nuance in the how isn't always explained. But I notice where it's coming in, and this can almost present its own little challenges. It's great that there's so much information out there. But sometimes it's not great that there's so much information out there because we have access to chats and all these things, and clients will look it up and say, oh, I saw this, it was a buzzword, right? It used to be you heard it at a party, and now it's that you looked it up online. And while I love that clients could be hands-on and try to gain a greater understanding of what's going on, just because a Roth conversion is something you looked up online does not mean it's the right strategy from you or for you, especially from a
Right.
tax perspective. So
Yeah.
I think that it just leads to a lot more conversation, which is a good thing, and client education, which is ultimately kind of the most important part of your relationship.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
That's
everybody has to
awesome.
buy in to what's going
Yeah,
on, or it doesn't work.
right. Well, that's super insightful. I mean, it's good that you're paying attention to the industry changes and then keeping up with the client inquiries because definitely customers are smarter today, like you said, or at least
Yeah,
somewhat more armed to ask different questions
absolutely.
than we're used to.
It's been noticeable.
Yeah, yeah. So let's flip the script for a moment and celebrate some wins here on the hard work that you put into it. So, could you share a success story? It could be client based or operations based that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, there's a lot to choose from actually. We've had a really eventful few years. And we've been in business for decades, so there's a lot to pull from. But since we were talking about tech, I think I want to start from the business perspective side.
Sure.
Because of all the tech out there, actually, that was a big reason we decided to merge into Fortis Capital Advisors. Compared to where we were, they just had a greater offering of tech, they had a greater hunger for it, and we constantly have access to the newest best. But
Mm-hmm.
not just everything to have it, right? It all has to have
Yeah.
a purpose. And so when we merged with them, not only did we increase our technology, which of course always helps streamline efficiencies, but we ended up in this partnership that has really helped us. We're all kind of on a mission to disrupt the industry a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
when I first started, it was, and nothing against this, but it was tasseled shoes, mahogany desks, and the big line of
Mm-hmm.
books behind leather bound books behind you.
Yes.
And advising, I feel like it was less relationship based, less conversational, less comfortable. And comfort is key for clients. So when we decided to go with this partnership, and my new partners really aligned with kind of how I feel the business should go and vice versa, which is why we're working together, we
Right.
were able to just make tremendous growth in our business.
Awesome.
So that was, and also we have so much more to offer our clients than we had even a few years ago. And that's incredible because they need
So
it and they deserve it.
yeah, that's fantastic. So, did you want to share another story, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It
I
could
mean,
be it could be on the same line.
yeah, you know what? And as far as we could share a client one, and there's a lot to choose from. And I think the way I see this is being an advisor, growth. If you're helping someone grow their assets or hit their goals, as long as you're both working together, that's the expectation, right? That's not
Mm-hmm.
anything great. That's not a success. If you run a big firm, I don't know, kind of a success, maybe amongst advisors. But what means the most to me is like the moments, right? Like I recently had a client, actually more than one, who I'm very big into planning. I think ongoing planning is a really big thing. I think the days of the one-time plan, one and done plan is
Yeah.
kind of garbage and not really very useful for a client anyways, because
Right.
life moves, right?
Yep.
But I recently was working with a planning client, and unfortunately, I mean, this was awful, but they got some really bad news. But because we had that planning, I was able to look at them. I was able to promise them that I will stay with them every step of the way and that things were going to be okay. And to me, wins like that, or working with, I tend to work with a lot of widows who are unexpectedly widowed, right? Like it doesn't always happen on the timeline we all think. Plans are cute, but, unfortunately, we don't get to pick how things end up. So, I'll have someone specific I'm thinking of. When she first called me years ago, she couldn't even speak. She was in so much shock. She was crying so hard. I could barely understand her. And we took some time and got to know each other first, kind of let things smooth out just because I could see so much was going on. So I got to work with her and brought her children in. And now when I meet with her, she still obviously wishes things turned out differently, but the life she is living and the person she has become and getting to watch that and walk with her there's probably no greater success or rewarding thing for me. Like it makes me want to cry just thinking about it.
That's
It's
an
truly
awesome story.
That's success.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. Thank you so much. I mean, that's meaningful. And people who are just, potentially watching a podcast or whatever, when they hear stuff like that, that lights them up. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Gets me out of bed.
Yeah.
It makes it all worth it. Because ultimately, while there's no free lunch and no one goes to work for free, you do want to make a difference. And most advisors got into the business because they want to help people.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So every business kind of has their good stories and their not so good stories, but there's also challenges day to day for everybody that wakes up and goes to work. So can you give me an idea of like what's working really well in your business right now, and then parlay that with what's been frustrating?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's working really well is our new service model. I'm a firm believer that if you are not looking at what's going on in the world and where your business needs to be 5 years from now and who your clients are, that you're falling behind and you just don't see it yet. In fact, I say that way too much at our office and people are probably sick of hearing it. So I'm always looking to adapt, right? So our new service model that is very heavy and having a lot of that financial planning included, and not just planning, ongoing planning, and positioning more as a personal CFO, not an asset manager. And in fact, if a client comes and just wants asset management, we might not be the right firm for you, because we've seen that play out, right? We've seen the client who, when things were optional, didn't want to do it and they didn't think they needed it. And then something happened and they did. And it's not about how much or how little assets you have. Everybody has problems and everyone has unexpected life. And everyone has a money story. And that's a big one. So being able to have a service plan that can help people get to the bottom of their money story. And that money story affects every decisions they make in their business, every decision they want to make in their portfolio, and every way they communicate in a meeting potentially with their spouse about it. Having a service model that really dives deep into that has been a tremendous success, because clients are able to align with what we're doing and why. And I think when everyone doesn't maybe understand every nuance of planning or investment management, that's fine. But if we have the same goal and purpose, that long-term partnership is just way better for everybody.
That's great. So what's frustrating?
Oh, I think frustrating comes a little bit with some of what's out there. I think the biggest challenge that I see is people comparing apples to oranges. There are so many service models out there. There's your big banks, right? There's your smaller one-man firms that have been in business for 50 years. And I think when people just compare, they go, okay, what's the fee? Right? What's the cost? Or they think worse. So many people don't think they were paying anything before. And that kills me. I like to
Mm.
explain that to clients, what their costs
Mm-hmm.
are, what that looks like, and what the deliverables are for that. But I think a lot of advisors in the past have kind of hid from that. So people are either uneducated, and it's not their fault, it really wasn't explained to them, or
Yeah.
they're comparing an apple to an orange. Like, yeah, maybe your fee is XYZ, but if you don't have $1 million, you're hitting a call line, right? Or you might
Mm-hmm.
have a rotation of advisors as opposed to a firm that also is savvy in taxes and partners to save you on that. So I think just that piece of helping people understand apples to oranges in service models and how greatly they vary is probably the biggest frustration, because it's not
Okay.
all the same out there.
No, it's not. I mean, and it's not the only industry that's like that, of course, but
Yeah.
this
Oh
one's a little
yeah.
bit more, this one's a little important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks for that. So, in terms of like between the two topics of growth or client metrics, like what are you most focused on improving at this moment in time? Is it new client acquisition? Is it growth of your clients' assets, or is it just retaining? Is it just retaining your client base?
We have a really strong client retention. I think that's a testament to the business that's been
Mm-hmm.
built, and to our clients. I mean, we really get to. It's great when you get to get up and work with people who you really enjoy working with.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could ever say that's not the focus. Like, you made a promise, right, to deliver certain things, to take care of them. So from my perspective, that's never a back burner thing. You never switch away from that and think about growth. And I'm not saying that's what you were saying or
Yeah.
suggesting by any means, but I think it's that dedication to upcoming service model. And then I apologize. I forget what the original question already was because I
Oh,
was so
so it was,
excited.
are you more focused on client acquisition or the operations
Oh,
of
yes.
things? Yeah,
And my
yeah.
last point is acquisitions are great. And there's a ton out there. We're experienced in that. But I will say right now, my biggest commitment is to organic growth, getting out there, disrupting the industry, being loud. And well, at first I kind of thought that was challenging. I'm like, oh, people
Yeah.
might be looking for what they're used to. I found that bringing your authentic self makes it a little easier to disrupt. And the reason I think that's important is because if you bring your authentic self and you're loud about it and you're kind of loud about your firm and what you believe in and why, I think then you kind of connect with people organically and you could focus more on organic growth, which are clients who are aligned with you and what your firm
Yep.
principles are, versus buying a firm that maybe someone had an advisor for 50 years and that's wonderful, but their service model is nothing similar because that firm stopped evolving at some point.
Right.
So I'm not saying acquisitions are off the table, but dedication to current clients and then polishing that service model and focusing on organic growth is really, that's my priority.
Awesome. Thanks for being so open. That's a tough
Yeah,
question to answer. So I
it's a
think a
good
lot of
one. I like
I
it.
think
You stumped me a
yeah.
little bit. I was like, ooh.
No, I mean this is the whole purpose, right? Is to make you think afterwards, like, what are you doing? Are you doing it good, or do you need to pivot a little bit? So I think a lot of advisors that could potentially listen can relate to those things that you shared. Because, like I said in the beginning, I mean, one of the reasons I'm in the space is because, I mean, I think it's just starting to change, right? The next
Yeah.
10 years is going to be insane for your space.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'm excited to be a part of it. I felt like when I first joined, it didn't change at all. Like, it just felt like, and
yeah,
even when I came back into the industry, it still kind of looked and felt the same. It was a sea of sameness, as we used to say at our old firm,
yeah,
but
no, it's true.
it's starting to get exciting around here.
I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, and my favorite like story to compare what I think how things are going to change for your industry is like I look at State Farm, like the oldest type of stodgiest antics that you can imagine occurred in that company, right? Because they're 100 years old, right?
Yeah,
But over the past 20 years, I mean, they've been putting the young people up, they've been changing their story, they've been hiring better marketing agencies to write all kinds of different ads for them that are helping them reconnect with the right audiences, which is a younger audience, right, to get into their portfolios. So there's
Yeah,
hope.
marketing is huge.
There's
You
hope
could
for
change a
sure.
lot with marketing. It just all has to align with the change behind the scenes too, right?
Yeah.
Marketing's fancy. You could spend a lot on it. But you have to spend the time so your service and what's going on and the people who work for your firm back that.
That absolutely. It's all about the culture.
Yeah. Oh, culture is huge.
Hmm. So let's look ahead a little bit. So
Yeah.
every advisor I talk to has a vision for where they want to go next. So where would you like your firm to be in 6 to 12 months? Are you going to focus on client relationships and business growth together? I think you are. That's the answer. But I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I actually kind of have a little extra goals kind of in there that are a little bit outside of that maybe advisor box or how people typically see it. But I've been starting some great seminars. We have some business think tanks coming next year as well, which I'm so
Mm,
excited about because besides working with clients and helping entrepreneurs, something that really excites me is business growth, motivational stuff.
nice.
So besides, yes, growing the firm, retaining clients, always improving our service model. One of my big next thing is to add a motivational component to the advising world. And you don't see a lot of that out there. But if you think
Mm-mm.
about it, your money story, how you think about money, every move you make, whether you're a W-2 employee or an entrepreneur, have every effect on your finances at the end of the day. And I'm
Mhm.
actually writing a book. It's going to be done at the
Nice.
end of this year, but it's not a finance book. It's a motivational book. And of course, it will touch on some things in there because everything has a little bit of an overlap in life. But I'm really excited to get that out, do some more speaking, and start helping people really connect and not just grow their finances, but grow what's inside of here and use that to
Hmm.
grow their businesses. So that's maybe a little bit different than maybe what you were expecting. And maybe that doesn't even answer your full question, but
It
that's
is.
truly my focus. And I have a big plan for
It's it. There's no wrong answers here, right? It's your
that.
answer, and I could totally see you as a motivational individual.
Yeah, I mean, and we all need it. I think people, there's like I feel like a fallacy or like people almost like a false narrative out there that business owners don't want to don't have problems, right? If you have a lot of money or a lot of assets, you don't have problems. Not true. We're all
Well,
people. We all put our pants on one leg at a time,
hmm.
and we all have things that we have to overcome. And most entrepreneurs I know have a lot more failures under their belt, which is why they're where they're at, right? The grit
Yep,
that it took to get them there. So I
exactly.
think bringing that to the table and helping people even work through some of those things, I believe it all kind of ties in. And it's a risk. I am a little nervous just because I don't really see it out there, but why not? I think it's an important component and I think it's exactly what I should be doing.
That's beautiful path to follow. I think you're going to do just fine. You're going to be super surprised at how many people you're going to attract. It's going to be insane.
I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
again, I think it goes back to that authenticity and disrupting motivational stuff and helping people build businesses isn't new. Being an advisor, a private wealth advisor isn't new. But I think combining those things and going, okay, I don't just have to sit at a desk. And I mean, I do wear blazers, so nothing against the blazer, but I
Yeah.
do not have to check these boxes and just be this person and just talk this way and just present these things and only talk about portfolio returns, right? Like to
Yeah.
me, that's this much of the job. So I
No.
appreciate that because, like everyone, I could use my own encouragement.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, certain people have it, certain people don't. And from my own recent experiences, I mean, and my most of my adult life, I mean, being entrepreneurial is lonely. There's
Yeah,
nobody to talk to because outside of your spouse, right? That's the only person that really understands you. And
it's so
even at that point, they understand you about this much, but they try to be very supportive. But to have equals to talk to is super important. And it's beyond even going out. Like a lot of mastermind groups, if you pay attention in the world in general, they do trips to like
Yeah.
really blow off the steam and pile up the motivation.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you're right, though. It is. And I think people always say it's lonely at the top. I don't believe there's a top. I think it's lonely on the journey, right?
Well,
Because,
right.
and I was just telling my husband this recently. I don't know that many people. I know a lot of hardworking people, but recently my husband and I were, at an event, and someone's like, "Oh, what are you doing this week?" And I'm like, "Well, Friday night I'm working on my book. Saturday I'm working on my book, and then I'm going to spend a couple hours with my kid. And Sunday I'm working on my book." I'm like, "Oh God, that sounds awful. Like, why would you want to do that? You should just quit." And I get stuff like that a lot. Like, "Oh God, but
Yeah.
like, I can't be more excited to get this, these thoughts out. And,
Yeah.
hopefully my mom isn't the only one that reads it. Thank you. Love you, Mom, because I know you're going to buy a copy. But, it is true. It is hard to find that true alignment. And a lot of people go to motivational things, but the amount of people that truly follow through on that and take that risk is a small percentage of even that.
Probably.
Yeah, especially females.
It's hard. But we
Especially
do
females.
need the motivation.
Yeah.
Females have been stepping up for a long time. There's a lot of great
Yeah.
female-run businesses out there.
Absolutely. And it's nice to see that changing. It's still hard to find sometimes someone who's maybe like, I think it's hard because the business roles for females have evolved, but necessarily the gender roles haven't. So
Yeah.
then females, like, you're just trying to figure out like, okay, how do I run this business? Or two, and also be the one to make sure that, we're getting to play practice and we have all the groceries and the clothes we need or whatever it is. But again, that's why I don't believe in balance. I believe you lean into what needs you more in that moment. And you just
Nice
go
circle
all
back.
in and be fully present in that.
Very nice circle back, Jessica. Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't even
Exciting
do that on purpose.
goals. You did it. You did it though. You know why? Because you
Yes.
prepared. You kind of pre-read the questions and you had some thoughts about it, and it all came together here today.
Yeah, but you hit me with some good stuff I wasn't even thinking about. So I like it. You made me think.
Cool. You're welcome. Well, exciting goals. It's great to see how your firm and you play this out in the future. It'll be good to watch.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, by the way.
You're welcome. So we're going to call that a wrap here. And this has been such a valuable conversation, I think, for everybody. So thank you very much, Jessica. Thanks for sharing your journey and your insights with us today from planning to prosperity.